Feedback from the audience, obtained verbally or non-verbally, is what we constantly sensing while teaching. What is the main difference in feedback channels in synchronous and asynchronous form of teaching?
In face-to-face or video conference mode, the feedback can happen immediately. Questions, exclamations, laugh, and even a silence could be indicators of something going good or wrong. Immediate feedback is very good for the dynamicity of the class and engagement. It is also a form of socialization and interaction between learners and with teacher. At the same time, it is a challenge for privacy and depersonalization. I would personally ask more hard questions, more stupid questions at any meeting if I knew that I am invisible. Peer review is almost impossible to organize in synchronous mode.
Feedback can be nonverbal, face language, gestures, or sounds, and these are valuable forms of information in synchronous teaching. But many students report they are not comfortable with asking voice questions or having voice dialogues, or that means synchronous dialogues, directly with the teacher. These are millennials who respect privacy much higher and always prefer texting, at least at the beginning. It is really interesting how texting sits somewhere between synchronous and asynchronous communication.
In online synchronous teaching, the feedback channels are technologically sensitive. Video or voice communication can be one direction or not available at all. Other feedback channels in video conferencing, as text chats, reactions, polls, surveys, need to be prepared. These tools are generally available in asynchronous forms of communication and teaching, although they need to be enabled and used wisely. Asynchronous teaching always and synchronous online teaching often provide the report on the feedback. That is extremely valuable source of analytics, and we will talk about learning analytics a bit later. All in all, adding asynchronous element to your course can make feedbacking more comfortable and deep for the audience and for the teacher because the feedback is documented. Having learned some tools of harvesting feedback in online or asynchronous mode, we would like you to meditate a bit on the following question. What web conferencing feedback instruments you would like to take back to your face-to-face class?
I already shared my concern about what is left in the heads of my students when they leave the lecture hall. They say only 10% of the contents, even in the best case. But what stays in my head? Typically, I remember that student was really good. She asked very smart questions and stayed positive. And that student was kind of rude because he commented destructively to others. And I remember this, and I use for grading. Those who are active and positive typically get better grade.
It basically means that grading has a big share of professor's subjective evaluation. For example, if professor likes the student or not, or if he thinks that this student is nice. And sometimes it's not fair to rely only on professor's memory or impressions. One of the biggest problems of synchronous teaching, especially in face-to-face class, it leaves no record. So even if we use video recording tools in class, or we record a video on smartphone camera, for example, the recordings are typically of poor quality, and they can't be reused in future learning without substantial editing. If we would like to use these recordings for evaluation or to get some statistics, in many cases, professor will have to rewatch the whole video himself or herself to get this data. And we want to extract from these recordings something important for students' evaluation, like amount of interactions, involvement, and just attendance. Video conferencing are better in this sense, because however still many of them does not provide session statistics after the session is over. In asynchronous teaching, collecting learning statistics is typically much easier. For example, in the picture, you see the analysis of discussion forum of 3-hour offline courses. Yellow circles are the students and red circle is the teacher. Lines represent the interaction in the forum, typically question and answer. You can immediately see who is more active in the class, who is possibly missing some motivation or interest, and who needs extra support.